Ava, this isn't the way to the chapel, is it? I asked, my voice calm as I watched the unfamiliar scenery blur past the passenger side window. My fiancée, Ava, gave a little flinch, her fingers tightening on the steering wheel. She forced a smile, her other hand finding mine. Liam, honey, don't be silly. Are you just getting last-minute wedding jitters? She said, her voice a little too bright. We spent months planning this. Where else would we be going? I didn't answer, just watched her. She was a terrible liar, a fact I'd learned intimately over the 7 years I'd been in this world, on this mission. She always chewed on her lower lip, a nervous habit she thought no one noticed. And the moment I'd asked the question, I'd heard the soft click of the central locks engaging. As if she was afraid, I tried to jump out. The thought didn't surprise me. It was almost a relief. I pulled a cigarette from the crumpled pack in my pocket. The lighter flared with a sharp snap. I took a long drag, the familiar bitterness of nicotine flooding my lungs, sharpening my senses. Ava, I've spent 7 years trying to win you over. You don't have to lie to me, I said, exhaling a plume of smoke. The words were quiet, edged with a self-mocking irony. There's no point. I know you're taking me to the hospital. For Ethan. For the heart transplant. The name, Ethan, was a gut punch. She slammed on the brakes, the car screeching to a halt, nearly causing a pile-up behind us. But her reaction was exactly what I expected. He was, after all, her first love. The man she'd almost married. It took a long moment for the color to return to her face. She managed a smile that was more painful than a grimace. Liam, what Ethan and I had is over. It's ancient history. I want to be with you now. Please, you have to believe me. It was a good performance, but her eyes darted around, refusing to meet mine. I took another drag from my cigarette and cut her off. Then why aren't you in your wedding dress? And why did you insist on driving today, when we have a car and driver all booked and paid for? Silence descended on the car, thick and suffocating. The only sound was the faint crackle of my cigarette burning down. Finally, she lowered her head. You're part of the system, she whispered, her voice cracking. You can respawn if the mission fails. But he has end-stage heart failure. He's going to die, Liam. She looked up, her voice turning into a desperate plea. He's a good person. He's so young. He doesn't deserve to have his life just in. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. So that's your excuse? You tricked me into a sham wedding just to cut my heart out and give it to him? Do you have any idea how illegal that is? Before I could finish, she leaned over and silenced me with a kiss. Her tears, hot and salty, rolled down her cheeks and onto my own. The kiss that was once my sweetest reward now tasted only of ashes and betrayal. Don't say it, she sobbed against my lips. I can't just stand by and watch him die. We're already legally married. I filed the papers last week. Please, just tell me one last time. For us. She gripped my hand, her knuckles white. I promise, as soon as he recovers, I'll come home. I'll be the perfect wife. I'll help you finish your mission. I stared at her, at this woman I had devoted 7 years to, begging me to die for another man. I had never seen her beg for anything. She had faced down hostile executives and weathered corporate sabotage with her pride and principles intact. But for Ethan, she would throw it all away. Of course she would. Before I could voice my refusal, a wave of dizziness washed over me. My limbs grew heavy, refusing to obey. Ava's expression was grim, tinged with a sad sort of triumph. Don't fight it, Liam, she said quietly. I put a handful of sleeping pills in your coffee this morning. I didn't have a choice. I have to save him. With that, she stomped on the accelerator, the car lurching forward, away from the chapel, away from our life, and toward a fate she had chosen for us both. When I woke up, I was in a derelict private hospital, the air thick with the smell of decay and antiseptic. An illegal clinic, perfect for a black market organ harvest. A group of figures in surgical scrubs and masks descended on me, strapping me to a gurney. Ms. Jiang, you made it, one of them said, his voice muffled. Mr. Cole was fading fast. We were about to lose him. Ava's face went pale. Forgetting all about me, the walking, talking heart donor, she rushed past and into Ethan's room. A moment later, I heard her cry out. I was wheeled in behind her, just in time to see her clutching the hand of a man lying in the bed. He was pale, his breathing shallow, a ghost of the man from the photos. Ethan, she cried, her voice breaking. How did you get so sick? She looked like her own heart was breaking. It's okay now. Everything's going to be okay. You're getting a new heart. He managed a weak smile, his fingers curling around hers. I knew you'd come, Ava. I knew you would. Strapped to the gurney, I watched this touching reunion and couldn't help but let out a dry, cynical laugh. In her world, Ethan was everything. And me? What was I? The reliable partner who paid the bills? Or just a walking blood bag, a collection of spare parts to be harvested? I supposed I'd never know the answer. Ava's head snapped toward me, her eyes meeting mine. She hesitated, then slowly walked over, her arms open as if to embrace me one last time. I twisted my body away, my face a cold mask. Just get it over with. Go save your precious Ethan. She froze, her expression crumbling. Liam, I'm so sorry, she whispered, her voice trembling. But I promise you, after this, after he's better, I'll come back to you. I'll be the wife you deserve. We'll finish the mission together. I said nothing. There was nothing to say. She didn't understand. The moment she decided my life was the price for his, my mission was already over. It was a catastrophic failure. The anesthetic began to flood my veins, pulling me down into a chemical fog. As my consciousness faded, I expected the system to deliver the final verdict, deletion. Instead, a calm, synthesized voice echoed in my mind. Mission failure. Target acquisition unsuccessful. Initiating protocol. Erase all memories pertaining to the subject, Ava Jiang. The system's verdict hung in the void. Not termination. Just erasure. I was stunned. It wasn't a punishment. For me, in that moment, it was a release. My consciousness was pulled from my body, and the last 7 years of my life flickered before me like an old film reel. 7 years ago, I'd arrived in this world a broken man. I just moved to Chicago, chasing a dream that died on arrival. I was broke, alone, and spiraling. I'd ended up on a park bench in the dead of winter, drunk and hours away from freezing to death. That's when Ava found me. She took me back to her tiny studio apartment. I hadn't showered in a month and smelled like sour whiskey and despair, but she didn't seem to care. She just pulled 2 six-packs of cheap beer from her fridge and sat on the floor with me, matching me drink for drink until the sun came up. She told me she'd wanted to die once too, but a promise she'd made to someone kept her going, made her fight. She smiled when she said it, a smile so genuine and pure it felt like the first ray of sunshine I'd seen in years. It cut through the wreckage of my life and gave me something to hold on to. From that day on, I decided to live for her. Her dreams became my dreams. Her goals, my goals. Our shared history of hitting rock bottom bonded us. We fell together fast. We were dirt poor. I remember one winter when a client stiffed us on a major payment, leaving our business account empty right before the holidays. Our big Christmas dinner was an upgrade from 10-cent ramen packets to the 50-cent cups. But we were happy. We sat on the floor of that cramped apartment, slurping noodles, and I'd boast about my grand plans. I told her that when our company went public, I'd throw her the biggest, most extravagant wedding the city had ever seen. She just laughed, a sound like silver bells that lit up my entire world. I thought we'd be like that forever. But then Ethan came home. That day, Ava, the woman who lived and breathed for her career, walked out of a meeting that would have closed a $3 million deal. She didn't say a word, just got in her car and drove straight to O'Hare. She was gone for a week. When she came back, she acted as if nothing had happened. But she started spending more and more time on her phone, texting him. I saw the way she'd smile at the screen, a goofy, lovesick grin I hadn't seen on her face in years. It was the look of someone falling in love, and it terrified me. I learned later that the promise she'd told me about all those years ago, the one that kept her going, it was with Ethan. They had promised each other that no matter what happened, no matter how long it took, she would wait for him to come back and marry her. And she had waited, all this time, but now it was finally over. I was setting her free. I was setting myself free. As my spectral hand reached for the button to confirm the memory wipe, the doors to the operating room burst open. My soul, or whatever was left of me, hovered in the air and watched, confused. It was Ava. What was she doing back here? A surgeon tried to block her path. Ma'am, we're in the middle of a procedure. You need to leave. But she shoved past him, her eyes wild, fixed on my body on the table, the body that was already cut open, my chest exposed to the cold air. For a foolish second, a flicker of hope ignited within me. Had she changed her mind? Did she regret it? Did she actually care? Then she grabbed the surgeon's arm, her voice raw with urgency. Doctor, she said, her voice frantic, while you're in there, can you take his liver and kidneys too? For Ethan. She glanced at my unconscious form on the table, and seeing that I was completely out, seemed to relax a fraction before continuing. Ethan just told me. His liver and kidneys are damaged from all the medication he's been on. If he gets new ones, his recovery will be much faster. Her words, so casual, so dismissive, felt like a blender tearing through my heart, shredding it piece by piece. So this was her love for me. She was already planning Ethan's post-op recovery, ensuring he wouldn't suffer a moment's inconvenience. And me? Our wedding, our future child, our life, All of it could be postponed, sacrificed, thrown away. A bitter smile twisted my lips. I closed my eyes and pressed the button. Delete. I would rather remember nothing. From now on, I would live only for myself. I don't know how much time passed. The sharp, sterile scent of antiseptic pulled me from the darkness. I blinked my eyes open. A young nurse was adjusting my foredrip. Oh, you're awake. How are you feeling? Okay. Where am I? She frowned slightly. The hospital. You've been unconscious for a week. A week? I tried to remember, but my mind was a perfect, polished blank. The nurse sighed, a look of pity on her face. All the other patients have family visiting. Your bedside. It's been as quiet as a morgue for 7 days straight. Now that you're awake, you should probably call someone. You got a bill to settle at the front desk. I dazedly picked up my phone, planning to call my parents, when a flood of unread messages popped up. They were all from some guy named Ethan Cole. Liam, my man, the surgery was a success. I literally couldn't have lived without you. Love you, bro. Face blowing a kiss, the text was accompanied by a photo of a woman I didn't recognize snuggled up against him. Ava made me soup today. I'm the luckiest guy alive. Hope you're recovering well too, man. Folded hands, this one had a picture of the same woman, holding a spoon of steaming broth to his lips. Ava's taking me out to get some sun today. So stoked. When are you getting out? We should all hang. Day after day, Ethan had sent a new, cloying message, flaunting this Ava woman in my face. Every word dripped with condescension and a weird, triumphant energy. I just frowned. Who was this clown? Why was he spamming me? I didn't know the woman in the pictures, so she was pretty big deal. Why was he so desperate to show her off to me? Weirdo. I muttered an insult under my breath and blocked his number without a second thought. But just as I did, the door to my room swung open. It was them, Ethan and the woman from the photos, Ava. Ethan rushed over to me, throwing his arms around me in a dramatic hug. Liam, you're finally awake. Turns out you were in the room right across the hall. You should have said something. I would have been here in a heartbeat. I mean, you're my hero. You saved my life. His voice was theatrical, his expression overwrought. He called me his savior, but his eyes were filled with undisguised contempt. I was speechless. Can a grown man act normal? What a two-faced snake. He'd been mocking me in my DMs for days, and now he was playing the saint. I shoved him away, my voice cold. Get off me. Who the hell are you? You're disgusting. Ethan stumbled back, a flicker of satisfaction in his eyes before he crumpled to the floor, launching into his next performance. Oh, Liam, I knew you'd be mad at me. I should just die. It's all my fault. He clutched his chest, gasping for air as if on the verge of collapse. Ava rushed to his side. Ethan, don't get worked up. The doctor said you need to rest. Your body is still weak from the surgery. She helped him up, then turned to me, taking my hand. Her voice was gentle, chiding. Liam, I know you're hurting, but what's done is done. You're alive and well. Isn't that enough? Why would you push him? He's still so fragile. I stared at the beautiful, unfamiliar woman in front of me. I felt no attraction, only a strange, rising nausea. Who was this person? Was she blind? He threw himself on the floor, and she immediately decided I was to blame? And fragile? This guy was up at 3 a.m., sending me taunting selfies. He seemed to have plenty of energy to me. Before I could sort out my thoughts, Ava sighed and squeezed my arm. Look, honey, whatever happened, it's in the past. I know you won't forgive me easily. So, she paused, a sudden, brilliant smile lighting up her face. I came here today to give you a surprise. She reached into her purse and pulled out a piece of paper, her eyes shining with love as she held it out to me. Honey, I'm pregnant. You always said you wanted a baby, right? Well, your dream is coming true. Have you thought of any names yet? And we should reschedule the wedding quickly before I start showing. I promise it'll be even more lavish than the one you planned. From now on, it'll just be the 3 of us. A happy family. What do you say? She stroked her stomach with one hand and held mine with the other, her gaze as soft as water, as if she loved me more than life itself. I snatched my hand back, my face a mask of disgust. A baby? I scoffed. We don't even know each other. How would there be a baby? Is this some new, creative way to find a sucker to play dad? My words hung in the air. Ava stared at me, her face a canvas of pure shock. Liam, what are you saying? Then a look of understanding, or what she thought was understanding, dawned on her face. She reached for my hand again, her touch even gentler than before. Honey, are you still angry with me? I know you are, and you have every right to be. I promise, I'll do anything to make it up to you. Just tell me what you want, and I'll do it. Her performance only irritated me more. I yanked my hand away. I told you, I don't know you. Now move. Ethan, seeing his chance, hobbled forward, his face a mask of pained sincerity. Liam, bro, don't be like this. I know this is my fault. If I hadn't come back and complicated things for Ava, you two would be happily married right now. Blame me. Take it all out on me. If you want me to, I'll just drop dead right here. I scowled at him. I didn't know why, but every word out of this guy's mouth made my skin crawl. Are you sick in the head? I snapped. I already told you. I have no idea who you people are. Is this some kind of daytime soap opera audition? Let me be clear. You're not getting a dime out of me. If you don't leave right now, I'm calling security. Ignoring Ava's attempts to help me, I pushed myself up to get out of bed, but a searing pain shot through my chest, and I looked down to see that my wound had split open. A raw, angry gash, at least 6 inches long, was bleeding through my gown. My brow furrowed. How did I get an injury like this? I searched my mind, but it was just static. A complete blank. What the hell happened to me? Beside me, Ava saw the blood. Tears welled in her eyes, threatening to spill, but she stubbornly held them back. She reached out a trembling hand, wanting to touch the wound, but stopped herself, as if afraid she'd hurt me. Liam, she whispered, her voice thick with unshed tears. I know you resent me, but you don't have to pretend you've lost your memory. Her voice was so fragile, so heartbreakingly sad. You just had surgery. You need to stay here and recover. She bit her lip, her eyes growing redder. When you're better, I'll do anything you ask. Anything. Okay. She looked at me with such earnest, pleading eyes it would have been hard for anyone to refuse. But all I felt was disgust. So this was the new grift? An elaborate, high-stakes con? They were really committed to the performance. I let out a cold laugh, shattering her act. Save it. I have classes to get back to. I can't afford to fail a course and have to retake it. I shot her an annoyed glance. I don't have time for your little drama. I tried to stand again, but the pain in my chest made me gasp. Now, get out of my way, or I'm calling the cops. Ava and Ethan exchanged a look, both of them appearing utterly stunned. I frowned. What now? Spit it out. Ava swallowed hard, her eyes filled with a new kind of hesitation. Liam, you're 27 this year, she said, watching my reaction carefully. You graduated from college. Years ago. 27? I scoffed, nearly jumping out of bed. Impossible. I was still young. There was no way I was that old. I touched my face. It was pale from the injury, but the skin was firm, smooth. I didn't look like someone on the verge of 30. This woman had to be insane. Seeing my disbelief, Ava panicked. She fumbled in her purse and pulled out a driver's license, pointing at the date and photo. Liam, look, it's 2025. Your ID says you were born in 1998. That makes you 27. I took the license and studied it. The man in the photo was undeniably me, though his eyes were sharper, filled with a youthful swagger I didn't recognize. Date of birth, 1998? What did I get so old? A profound sense of absurdity washed over me. I looked up at Ava, confused. Was it possible I really was 27? But why couldn't I remember any of it? Sensing my hesitation, Ava seized the opportunity like a lifeline. Liam, do you really not remember anything? The last 7 years? The system, the mission, you've forgotten all of it. I just stared at her, speechless. What was she even talking about? A system? A mission? Had this woman been reading too many fantasy novels? Seeing the blank look on my face, Ava's color drained completely. Realizing the gravity of the situation, she rushed out to find a doctor. Soon, I was subjected to another battery of tests. Blood pressure, a brain CT scan, the works. After half a day of poking and prodding, the doctor finally shook his head. He concluded that the trauma had likely been too great a shock, causing disorganized memory. There was no effective treatment at present. He warned them not to agitate me, as it could worsen my condition. Ava burst into tears, her face a mess of grief. Ethan walked to my bedside, his expression tragic, his eyes red-rimmed. Liam, man, I'm so sorry. He choked out. I never thought saving my life would do this to you. No matter what, I'll take responsibility for you. I watched Ethan's ham-fisted performance with a cold inner laugh. Did this idiot really think he was a good actor? He was nauseating. Ava was hugging me now, sobbing. Liam, I'm your wife. I'll take care of you, I promise. I just shook my head, my voice flat. I don't have a wife. If you were my wife, why was I lying in this hospital bed alone for a week after an injury this severe? Ava was struck speechless. Ethan saw his opening and interjected with his fake sincerity. Ava, don't lose hope. If we take good care of Liam, maybe his memory will come back. With that, he picked up a bowl of hot soup from the bedside table and made a show of bringing it to me. But I saw his eyes darting toward my chest wound. He was clearly up to no good. Sure enough, the next moment, Ethan, who had been walking perfectly fine, suddenly tripped lurching forward as if he were about to accidentally spill the scalding soup all over my chest. A cold sneer formed on my lips. You want to hurt me? Not that easy. In a flash, I snatched the pillow from behind my head and held it up as a shield. Splat! The hot soup soaked the pillow. Droplets flew everywhere, and a piece of the ceramic bowl shattered, slicing open Ethan's hand. He let out a pained shriek. The sudden turn of events left Ava stunned. She clearly hadn't expected that. Soup was everywhere. On the floor, on the pillow, the faint smell of chicken broth filling the room. But she didn't care about the mess. Her eyes immediately locked onto Ethan's bleeding hand. Ethan, are you okay? Is it bad? She asked, her voice laced with worry as she gently took his hand to inspect the cut. Seeing this, a knot of irritation tightened in my stomach, and my anger flared. The guy's a menace who was trying to scald me, I said, my voice dripping with ice. He got what he deserved. At my words, Ethan's eyes instantly reddened. He started sniffling, putting on a masterful display of victimhood. Liam, bro, I was just trying to bring you some soup. I just had surgery, my hands aren't steady. I'm so clumsy, I'm sorry. I guess I'm just useless. He spoke between sobs, all while sneaking glances at me from the corner of his eye to see how I was reacting. I just stared at him, thinking he was more unhinged than ever. A grown man, acting like a damsel in distress? Pathetic. Before Ava could say a word, I rolled my eyes and cut him down. What? Did you lose control of your arms and legs? You can't even carry a bowl of soup? And in a space this small, you just happen to stumble in the precise direction of my chest wound? You think you're being clever? You actually believe anyone is buying this garbage performance. Every word was a dagger, aimed right at Ethan's fragile ego. His face went pale, then purple. He was speechless, clearly shocked that I would call him out so directly. After a long moment, he opened his mouth, ready to spin another lie. I didn't mean to, but this time Ava cut him off. That's enough. We're done here. Her voice was surprisingly calm, devoid of any emotion. My stomach dropped. Here it comes, I thought. She's going to take his side again. I was about to argue, but her next words floored me. She turned to Ethan, her expression serious, and said, her voice firm, Ethan, I think you should leave. Now. Ava's tone was absolute, leaving no room for argument. Ethan froze, staring at her as if he couldn't believe what he'd just heard. Ava, he started, trying to protest, but then a flicker of understanding crossed his face. He forced a stiff smile, nodded curtly, and walked out of the room. As he left, though, I caught the look he shot me. It was pure venom and resentment. It was clear this wasn't over. Fine by me. Let him try something. I wasn't an easy target. The room fell silent again. The air between Ava and me was thick with an almost unbearable awkwardness. After a long moment, Ava seemed to gather herself. She looked at me, her eyes filled with apology. Liam, I'm so sorry. Her voice was a whisper, as if she were afraid of startling me. I had no idea, Ethan, that his jealousy ran so deep. I apologize on his behalf. She paused, struggling to find the right words. And about you being alone in the hospital all this time. I just found out. All the notifications from the hospital, they were blocked on my phone. Even our chat history. You were blocked. I thought you were angry and ignoring me. That's why this whole tragedy happened. Her voice trailed off, her eyes welling up with tears again. I listened to her explanation, but I felt nothing. It didn't matter what had happened in the past. The bottom line was that I had lost my memory because of her. She had hurt me so deeply, and she had coddled and protected Ethan. That was enough to prove her love was never fully mine. What was the point of a love like that? I remained silent, watching her performance with cold detachment. Seeing my silence, Ava took my hand. Her skin was cool, and her fingers trembled slightly. Liam, whether you have your memory or not, I will take care of you. I'm responsible for you, because we're married. Her tone was firm, as if she had made a great resolution. Married? I looked at her, the irony tasting like ash in my mouth. Where's our marriage license? I asked. Ava quickly pulled it from her purse and handed it to me. I looked at the photo. It was us, no doubt. It didn't look like a fake. I really was married to this woman. But in the picture, Ava's smile was strained, her eyes full of worry. She looked like she was a million miles away. I couldn't help but wonder, what was wrong with my old self? Why would I marry a woman so obviously conflicted? From her own account, she had let her misplaced compassion and savior complex run rampant, using me as a living organ bank. Ava wiped her tears, her eyes full of hope. Liam, are you remembering anything? I stared straight at her. There was, in fact, one thing I did remember. Seeing the shift in my expression, the dim light in Ava's eyes suddenly flared bright, like a dying ember catching a gust of wind. She gripped my hand tighter, her voice trembling with excitement. Liam, what is it? What do you remember? She sounded like she was clutching a winning lottery ticket. I looked at her, my voice flat and cold, and I spoke each word with deliberate precision. I only remember one thing. You don't love me. The air in the room seemed to freeze. The hopeful smile on Ava's face shattered, and the light in her eyes died as quickly as it had appeared. She looked as if she'd been struck by lightning, completely still. After a few seconds, she finally snapped out of it, her expression turning to one of pure panic. How could you say that? Liam, you must be mistaken. Of course I love you. Her voice trembled, and her eyes darted away, unable to meet mine. I shook my head. There's no mistake. And based on your own story, if you really loved me, how could you have personally sent me to an operating table to be cut open? My question was calm, but it was a scalpel to her heart. Ava had no answer. Her lips moved, but no words came out. She silently let go of my hand, turned, and fled the room. Her retreating back was all the confirmation I needed. In the days that followed, I focused on my recovery. Ava didn't come back, and I was fine with that. I used the time to do some research, asking around and piecing things together. Ava was indeed my new wife, but it was also clear that her heart was divided between me and Ethan. I learned from a nurse that whenever Ava visited, she always went to Ethan's room first, spending hours with him before sparing a few minutes for me. And when I finally got my phone back, a quick look at her old messages confirmed it. Constant, intimate contact with him. I didn't know what the old me was thinking, but the new me was getting a divorce. I couldn't accept a wife whose heart belonged to another man. With that thought, I called a lawyer I knew and asked him to draft the papers. Liam, are you serious? He asked, shocked. You just got married. Isn't marrying Ava your lifelong dream? I managed a faint smile. That's the problem. A marriage shouldn't be a dream fulfilled for one person. It shouldn't be an act of charity, or worse, a transaction. If it isn't about two people naturally coming together, what's the point? My friend was silent for a moment, then sighed. All right, I'll email you the draft. I hung up, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. I was about to order some takeout when the door to my room opened. It was Ava, carrying a thermal container. Liam, you must be hungry. I made your favorites, shrimp scampi and that pork stew you love. It's full of nutrients, good for your recovery. She wore a gentle smile, as if our last, awkward encounter had never happened. I glanced at the food, but didn't move. Ava's smile faltered. What's wrong, Liam? Did I mess it up? Does it not taste right? I shook my head. You cooked it perfectly. There's just one thing. I've never liked greasy food, and I hate stew. I looked her straight in the eye, my gaze probing. So why would you think these are my favorite foods? My voice was cold, as if I were questioning a total stranger. The smile on Ava's face completely vanished, replaced by an unmistakable look of panic and guilt. That's impossible. Every time I cooked, no matter what it was, you'd devour every last bite. You never even left a drop of soup. I looked at her, a wave of pity washing over me. Pity for the man I used to be. I don't remember him, I said softly, but did it ever occur to you that maybe he ate it just because you made it? That because it came from you, the old Liam would force it down just so he wouldn't disappoint you? Ava froze, then slowly lowered her head, her face hidden from view. She was silent. Looking at her, my own appetite vanished. It was almost laughable. What kind of marriage was this? We didn't even know each other's tastes. And my former self, what a fool. To change his own preferences, to pretend to be someone he wasn't, all for this woman. I let out a self-deprecating chuckle. Pathetic. Done with the conversation, I threw back the covers, got out of bed, and walked out of the room, leaving her there. The shock must have been too much for her, because she didn't follow. She just stood there, staring at the food she'd brought, perfectly still. In the weeks that followed, Ava left me alone. I was glad for the peace. I recovered quickly, was discharged from the hospital, and threw myself back into work. Though I'd lost 7 years of memories, my mind felt sharp, uncluttered, like a student's again. That fresh perspective led to a surge of creativity, and my performance at the company skyrocketed. Just as I was settling into this new rhythm, I ran into Ava. It was after work. The plaza in front of my office building was filled with flowers and candles. A sea of red roses, stark and dramatic against the darkening evening sky. When she saw me, Ava rushed over. Liam, she cried out, her eyes red-rimmed. I've done a lot of thinking these past few weeks. I was so wrong, so terribly wrong. I've cut off all contact with Ethan. For good. She took a deep breath. It's okay if you don't remember me. We can start over. We can get to know each other again. Then, to my horror, she dropped to one knee, holding out a single, perfect rose. Liam, I love you. Please, give me another chance, she begged, her eyes wide with hope. A crowd of onlookers started to gather, murmuring and cheering. What's he waiting for? Say yes. Go on, man. Don't leave her hanging. Kiss her. Kiss her. Their chants filled the air, but I just stood there, my face hardening into a dark scowl before I turned and walked away without a word. Ava was stunned, utterly bewildered by my cold rejection. Just then, my colleague Mark, who had come down with me, looked at Ava with a confused expression. Ava, he said, scratching his head, you were with him for 7 years. Didn't you know he has severe allergies? He can't be around pollen. Ava froze on the spot, her face turning a ghastly shade of white. After a few seconds, she scrambled to her feet and chased after me, a frantic look on her face. Liam, Liam, wait, she called out, her voice breaking into a sob as she struggled to catch her breath. I stopped and turned to face her. She was panting, her cheeks flushed from the exertion, her eyes red and desperate. Liam, please let me explain. She grabbed my arm, her grip almost painful in its urgency. I pulled my arm away, my expression unmoved. Explain what? That you know nothing about me? No, that's not it. Liam, I honestly didn't know you were allergic to pollen. I've never seen you have a reaction to anything. She was babbling, her words tumbling over each other in a desperate, incoherent rush. It's my fault. I shouldn't have used flowers. I just wanted to do something special for you. I looked at her, and all I felt was a vast, empty wasteland where my love for her used to be. A surprise? She wanted to give me a surprise, using something I was allergic to? Life doesn't work that way. Ava, I said, my voice devoid of warmth. I already gave my life for you once. The Liam who loved you is dead. You made your choice when you chose Ethan. It's too late to regret it now. I reached into my jacket, pulled out the folded divorce papers I'd been carrying, and tossed them at her feet. Sign them, I said. It'll save us both the ugliness of a court battle. Ava stared at the papers on the ground as if they were venomous snakes. The color drained from her face. Liam, you want to divorce me? I know it was all my fault. But what about the baby? She clutched her stomach, tears finally streaming down her cheeks. What did our child ever do to deserve this? This is the proof of our love. It's innocent. I looked at her, my eyes cold as ice. The proof of our love? What a convenient, noble excuse. Don't even try it, Ava, I said, my voice dripping with scorn. Stop making excuses. That baby isn't your last-ditch effort to save our marriage. It's your get-out-of-jail-free card, isn't it? Her pupils contracted. Liam, you suspect me? I let out a short, harsh laugh. You and I both know what really happened, Ava. We were together for 7 years. You never, ever wanted children. She swallowed hard. That's just your guess. You have no proof. I gave her a look of pure contempt. Then how do you think I know all this? As if on cue, 2 uniformed police officers appeared behind her. Ava Jiang, one of them said, his voice official and firm. Ethan Cole has given a full confession. We need you to come with us to answer some questions. Ava collapsed to the pavement. She looked up at me, her face a mask of broken desperation. Liam, can't you really give me one more chance? I know I was wrong. I really know that now. I just shook my head and offered a cold smile. You don't know you were wrong, I said. You just know you're caught. Watching the police lead her away, I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no pity, no anger. Just a quiet finality. Some people, once lost, are lost forever. No amount of tears can bring back what was broken. Later, I learned that Ethan Cole, convicted for his role in the illegal organ harvesting scheme, couldn't handle the reality of his failure. His blood pressure spiked during a rage-fueled fit in his cell, and he died of a brain aneurysm. A twisted but fitting end. As for Ava, she eventually terminated the pregnancy and accepted her prison sentence. And me? I thrived. I got promoted, then promoted again. My work spoke for itself, and my future was brighter than it had ever been. I had a whole new life to live, and this time it was all mine. The end.